Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. I'm coming at you with another life update and drastic change of plans, but I am now going travelling. I leave in 4 days time and I have not planned anything, so I thought I might as well show you guys how I plan a last minute backpacking trip and the step-by-step process I have when planning a trip for an extended period of time. So, where might I be going and what is going on, you might be thinking. The first thing that I had to decide upon for this kind of last minute spontaneous trip is where I wanted to go, what my budget is, the weather, visa requirements, all of that kind of stuff. And because I have been studying Mandarin, if you've watched my previous vlogs you'll see that, I thought that the best course of action would be to go to a country that speaks Mandarin so I can at least get some kind of Mandarin practice in, since I haven't been in any country or any environment thus far this year which speaks Mandarin. So I am heading to Malaysia to start off my travel trip, and to be honest, I haven't even had time to be excited because I've just had so much else on. If you have been following along on my Instagram, you'll see that I have just launched a podcast with my mum. We talk all things transracial adoption, international adoption, and we talk about my childhood, my story, my experiences growing up as a Chinese adoptee. So that's been taking up a lot of my time recently. I have known that I would be traveling for a few weeks now, but I just did not have any time to plan anything. The only thing that I have done is I have booked my one-way flights to Malaysia, to Kuala Lumpur, and I am very excited now that I have a chance to breathe, and now that I've spent the whole day researching things, looking things up, kind of starting to get a general plan. That's the first thing I did. I decided upon my destination. After that, I looked at how long I wanted to be out in Asia for and the time period that I have. I decided that I want to do a full-on backpacking trip for 4 months or so, which again is very exciting. And I will be going to all the countries that I didn't manage to get to earlier this year when I was in Thailand and Sri Lanka, because due to COVID restrictions they were still closed. So on this trip I will get to go to the country that is #1 on my list of destinations that I want to go to next, and that is Vietnam. So I will be going from Malaysia to Cambodia, and then I'll be doing Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, and then I'll end my trip in northern Thailand, because I ultimately decided when I sat down and planned my trip that I would like to go back to the temple in northern Thailand in Chiang Mai, where I did my silent meditation retreat earlier this year, and I would like to go back and end my trip doing another silent meditation retreat. That's kind of how I came up with the destinations, and that's also how I kind of came up with the direction of my journey, because I know that I want to end in northern Thailand, and since I'm starting in Malaysia it makes sense to just take a flight from Malaysia straight to Cambodia and then do the typical backpacker trail. And since I spent 2.5 months in Thailand earlier this year, it doesn't matter that I'm missing the southern Thailand or the islands since I did that. That is my rough plan. Besides that, I honestly have got nothing planned. I will show you my Notion page that I've made. So this is what I roughly do every time I'm planning a trip anywhere. I will create a Notion page with lots of different important bits of details. So I'll make a page full of all the things I need to do before I go. So for me right now that includes a lot of my planning, or just generally having an idea of how many days I want to spend in each country and the rough route within each country as well. I need to check that I have all of my inoculations for these countries. I need to check the visa requirements. Luckily for all of these countries I can either get a visa on arrival or I can apply for a visa online in advance, so I need to make sure that I'm on top of all of those things. Luckily as well, all of the COVID restrictions have been dropped from these countries, so that's not something that I need to worry about anymore. And then another crucial thing is to make sure that I am buying my travel insurance, to make sure that I'm covered for my journey away. I cannot stress enough how important travel insurance is. I never go on any trip without travel insurance. I get travel insurance not so much because I care about my belongings, it's more because what if something happens to you individually and your health is at risk, or you get into an accident and you're hospitalized, or something goes horribly wrong. God forbid, we hope that that just would not happen, but you can never predict what might happen in the future. And having travel insurance just makes sure you're covered for the entirety of your trip. It covers not just medical insurance but also a whole range of other things, including baggage loss, flight delays, etc. And the number one go-to travel insurance that I've been using so far for the past year and a half, 2 years now, and on all my latest trips is Safety Wing. Safety Wing travel insurance is so decently priced. It's so easy to buy. You can buy it online. You can even buy it on the plane before you even get to the country. If you've forgotten to buy travel insurance and have left your home country already, Safety Wing actually allow you to buy travel insurance when you're already abroad, which not many travel insurance providers allow you to do. Most of them stipulate in their contracts that you have to buy the travel insurance before you leave your home country. Safety Wing does not state that. You can buy your travel insurance with Safety Wing wherever you are in the world, regardless of whether you've left your home country or not, or however long you've been on the road. So quick and easy. I'll leave a link in the description box to sign up. Safety Wing were also on my radar last year when I took my trip to Thailand, because they were a company that I was well aware that during COVID times they covered all COVID costs. And not a lot of insurance companies were covering COVID related costs, whether for illness, hospitalization or quarantine costs, but Safety Wing was covering all of these things, so I just had to buy it, and I've not used any other insurance company since then. Highly, highly, highly recommend, and again, I'll leave a link in the description box below. I'll also create a packing list, which will just make it a lot easier when I am packing, and there will be a packing video coming soon. I do plan on going hand luggage only, as always, so if you're keen to see how I pack hand luggage only and how much I plan on taking for my 4 months away in Southeast Asia, then look out for that video. Below this, I have a table of all the countries that I plan on going to. So as you can see today, I've added in a rough number of days in each country. If you're looking at it and you've done this route before or something similar and you don't agree with the number of days I've allocated to each country, then do let me know in the comments below, because by the time this video goes live I will only have just arrived in Malaysia, I think, so there is a lot of room, a lot of scope to change things. I'm leaving this trip very, very, very flexible, but the general idea, I wanted to do between 3 and 4 weeks in Malaysia, and in Malaysia I don't need a visa as a UK citizen, so that makes things a lot easier. And I definitely want to do 4 whole solid weeks in Vietnam, and that's something that I just won't budge on, because I just really want to see the whole of Vietnam. I really want to see the country. So I mean, I could cut down on the amount of time I spend in Vietnam, but I think that 4 weeks is a good amount of time to spend in the country, and as I've said, it is the top country on my list, so I do really want to see a lot of Vietnam. So I don't think I'm going to decrease that time. And then when I calculated the amount of time I'd have left in between starting my silent meditation retreats and having done 3 to 4 weeks in Malaysia and then 4 weeks in Vietnam, I'll only have about 2.5 weeks left. So I thought I would just do a week in Cambodia and a week in Laos. I know that that is pretty rushed to do those countries, and a lot of people do them in 2 weeks or even a month for each country, but I don't have that much time, and I'm willing to sacrifice time in those 2 countries to be able to spend more time in Malaysia and Vietnam. And I've spoken to friends who've traveled to both of those countries too, and they said that it's definitely doable in 7 to 8 days each for those countries. Yeah, that's kind of how I have come up with the number of days in each country. The next thing I have to decide upon is how I'm going to get between each country, and whether that's going to take another day of travel, for example if I'm taking an overnight bus or an overnight train. So my rough plan at the moment is to fly into Kuala Lumpur, spend my time traveling around Malaysia, and then fly out of Kuala Lumpur and go to either Siem Reap or Phnom Penh in Cambodia, and then spend my 7 days there. And then to get from Cambodia to Vietnam, I think I will try and take the overland bus. I've heard it's quite difficult or tricky, but I'm willing to give that a go. And then through Vietnam, again, since I've done such little research thus far, I plan on taking a variety of different transport methods within the country, but eventually end up in the north, in the capital, in Hanoi. And from there, I'm still undecided on whether I'm going to try and do the land border crossing from Vietnam to Laos, or to just take a flight. I'm not sure. If you have any recommendations, let me know. And then finally, from Cambodia to Thailand, I have decided that I do want to take the slow boat journey along the Mekong River from Laos to Thailand. Lots of people do it from Thailand to Laos, but I'm going to be doing it in the opposite direction, and it takes 2 days to do that. But I think that's really fascinating, and I'm really excited to do that. I didn't even know that that was a thing. So that kind of shaves off 2 whole days of backpacking, because those 2 days will be spent purely traveling between countries, which is why I think I only have enough time for a week in Cambodia and a week in Laos. and then from then it takes like a half day from northern Thailand to then get to Chiang Mai. And I want to be in Chiang Mai at least a day in advance before I go back into the temple, because it's gonna be a lot. So I need some time to just readjust and settle and not just be rushed and go straight to the temple and, you know, being completely cut off from the world again. So yeah, that is the rough kind of plan at the moment. Beyond that, as I say, I've not really looked into things as much. I have a rough itinerary at the moment for Malaysia, since that's my first destination, and I know that in Cambodia I want to see Angkor Wat and I want to learn more about the history in Cambodia, visit a lot of temples. Vietnam, I'm just ready for all the food, all the culture, and just soaking up all of the scenery. And in Laos, same, I've heard it's got beautiful scenery and there's lots of hiking trails and things like that. So very much looking forward to doing some of that in Laos. And then when I'm in Thailand, I will not really be doing much, to be honest. It's me just there mainly for the silent meditation retreat. And then when I finish my silent meditation retreat, I think I am going to have maybe a week and a half in Thailand, and I think I probably will stay in Chiang Mai and just spend at least the first few days, maybe 4 or 5 days out of my silent meditation retreat just completely alone, and book myself a place maybe in nature, in the mountains in Chiang Mai. Because last time when I did my silent meditation retreat and I came out, literally the day I came out from my silent meditation retreat, I hopped onto an overnight train to Bangkok and then straight on a flight to Sri Lanka the next day. And it was just all a bit too much for me, having just come out of meditating for 10 hours a day, to be plunged straight back into society and have all of this noise and just be bombarded with everything again from absolutely nothing to, you know, 100 was a bit too much for me, and I didn't really soak in and take in everything that I'd learned from the temple. So this time that I go, I definitely want to save a few days for after, as soon as I come out of the temple, to just spending time alone, reflecting and journaling, etc. Because I wouldn't have been able to do that, with the journaling at least, whilst in the temple. And then yeah, I've left my ticket open-ended completely. I don't really know when I'll be coming back. Maybe I'll travel a bit more around Thailand, maybe I'll end up going somewhere else after that, but we'll see. That is the rough plan. I hope you're as excited as I am. If you have any recommendations or anything for any of the destinations that I've said, please do let me know. Send me an email, DM me, put them in the comments below. Everything is flexible, everything is unplanned. In terms of accommodation things, and that's a question I get asked a lot: how far in advance do I book accommodation? How far in advance do I book tours and activities, etc. So far I've only booked my first night's accommodation in Kuala Lumpur. I always book my first night's accommodation wherever I go first, just so that you have peace of mind. As soon as you arrive, you know you've got a place to stay, everything's booked. But besides that, I do a bit of research beforehand in the destinations and cities that I want to go to, and I probably have a look on Hostel World a couple of days before I want to stay there, and then I'll just book a few days in advance. Unless there's a specific event or something that is constrained by specific dates or times, I don't really book anything in advance. So for example, in my gap year, a long time ago now, when I went to the Falls Festival in Byron Bay, that was over a certain period of time, so I knew that I should book accommodation before and after, because that was a set period. And again, for like tours and things where you know they're really popular or they might book out in advance, I would book those. Thus far, I haven't come across any tours that I think I would need to book that far in advance for this trip. The only thing that I think I will be booking in advance, aside from the first night's accommodation, is because I will be away and travelling over Christmas and New Year. Those are quite popular times, and I do want to make sure that I have accommodation over that 2-week period. So yeah, that is my travel trip. If you have any questions or recommendations or anything, leave them in the comment section below. I'm very excited for all of the travel vlogs to come, because I will no longer be a digital nomad traveling this time. This whole backpacking trip, I will be a full-on solo traveler. I do not have my job. I quit my job back in April, if you have been following on these journeys. So I will not be constrained by having to work 7 hours a day anymore. I'll be full on, 100% of my time can be devoted to traveling and exploring. So I'm beyond excited for this time that I have, and very, very excited to explore all of these countries and take you guys along with me. Thank you so much for watching this video, and hopefully see you in my next one. Bye!